When I reflect back when I used to cold call for £6 an hour, people must have thought that I was borderline insane. I would just come in unpaid. I went from making £6 an hour, working for free, to 2k per week by the same company. Raise your standards and watch yourself. Hi everybody and welcome to my first YouTube video. As you'll see behind me, the sun is about to set, so it might get dark during this video. And for anybody that doesn't know me, I'm Scott.McClure. I'm a six-figure brand owner and I also own the company Academy, which basically helps entrepreneurs get started on their journey. It teaches wealth creation methods that school would never teach you, like sales, e-commerce, etc. And in this video, I'm going to teach you why you need to raise your standards and 2 easy, actionable steps to raise your standards to make more money. The whole reason I made this video is I seen a TikTok the other day of this guy saying, if you're employed, what you should do is be the last one in and the first one out of work.
I would say if you are full-time in employment, this is my advice to you. Be the last one in and the first one out, and do as little as you can.
And I have to say, I totally disagree with this, and here is why. Your standards will follow you everywhere you go. And this is why no matter what I'm doing, whether it's going to the gym, working, studying, reading, or playing football, I set high standards of myself. Because see, if you're lazy in the gym, you're also going to be lazy at your workplace. It's these standards that you set when you first start something, they will follow you into other aspects of your life. When I reflect back when I used to cold call for £6 an hour, I really did raise the bar when it came to standards, to the point that people must have thought that I was borderline insane. See, whenever the call centre needed a hand, or it just wasn't getting the result that it wanted, and I wasn't meant to be working, I would just come in unpaid. I would stand up during my calls rather than sit down. I would also learn the person above me's role, so that whenever an opportunity came up for that role, I already knew how to do it, and I wouldn't even need trained. For example, my friend Connor at the time, he was a confirmer, and every time I passed a lead on to him, instead of going to the toilet, going for a fag like everybody else would do, I would simply sit beside him and learn exactly what he was saying, how he was overcoming objections, how he was using his tonality, how he was using his body language and stuff like that. So when I was offered to become a confirmer and I was asked to learn the script, I said to her, I already know it. I was then put on my first call and I was successful from the word go. See, the main thing that stood out for me was me and my friend would actually stay behind late and just work solely on commission. One time we were actually working past 7 o'clock and a branch manager walked in and came up to us and was like, why are you working in here at this time? We were like, we need to get a result, that's why we're still here. He then, after seeing us stay back late, gave us an amazing opportunity, and I went from making £6 an hour, working for free, to then getting paid 1 to 2k per week by the same company. And that was all because of the standards that I had set. So if me and my friend never ever raised our standards, we would have never got that opportunity, and we certainly wouldn't be where we are today. This is why I think even if you're the cleaner all the way up to the CEO, you should always set amazing standards, and you should also look at raising your standards, as they will honestly follow you everywhere you go. Part 2, what happens when you raise your standards? As soon as you raise your standards, whether it's in the workplace or with your football team or your Zumba classes, for example, you'll find when you raise your standards, you'll raise everybody else's standards. Maybe not to the point you're at, but you'll find that the people that used to have no standards start to get a little bit of standards, and the okay performers turn into high performers, as they'll notice a connection with doing XYZ will get them to XYZ result. The second thing that you'll notice when you raise your standards, and it is quite heartbreaking to be honest, is people start not wanting to be around you. Some people don't want you to be around them because you intimidate them now, and you'll find that your friend group starts to get smaller. And this is because people with little or no standards at all can't stand people with high standards. In part 3, here's 2 ways to help raise your standards. Number 1, you need to change your identity, because at the beginning it is way easier to set a high standard because people usually live up to who they once were in front of XYZ person. For example, when you usually go to the gym with your friend, you would have set standards, and every time you go to the gym with that person, he will expect the same standard every time you go. So if you go to the gym with your friend and you have a terrible session, you are taking too long in between sets, you are speaking to each other for ages and ages and ages in between sets, you aren't doing heavy weights either, then every time you go to the gym, that's the standard that you and your friend have put in place. Whereas if one time you decide to raise your standards, he will either not want to go to the gym with you anymore, or he'll raise his standards and he'll enjoy the gym and get better results. I'll give you another example. I used to run when I was younger. I ran half marathons and marathons, and the first ever run that I done, it was a 5k, and I came first in my age group. I ran in front of loads of family and friends. Now, because I'd set a high standard from the very beginning, I had to live up to that person every time I was in front of my friends and family. So every race that I'd done in front of them, I had to live up to that Scott who always wins, who always puts in 100%, and who always finished his race first. So there was no way that I could turn up and do it half-heartedly. So the question is, like, who are you known as? Are you known as the guy or girl who turns up to the gym and leaves early, never increases the weight, and is only there for the picture? Who are you known as? And number two, you need to identify where your standards are lacking and commit to raising the bar. You need to learn to be self-critical, which is hard for some people, because to be self-critical, it is not about being an egomaniac where you think you're the bee's knees. It's about being vulnerable, realising where you can raise your standards, and then watch yourself grow. Once you've done these two key steps, you just need to repeat the process in every aspect of your life, raise your standards and watch yourself make more money, have better relationships, get bigger if it's the gym. No matter what it is, you'll absolutely kill it.